What if I told you that time, the very thing that seems to control your days, your plans, your entire life, is nothing but an illusion? What if the past, the present, and the future are all just stories you're telling yourself, right now, in this very moment? Stay with me, because today, we're diving deep into a life-changing idea inspired by the wisdom of Neville Goddard, a truth that can set you free from the chains of time and unlock the power to create the life you desire. This isn't just another video. This is a wake-up call to see the world differently, to step into your true power, and to realize that everything you've ever wanted is already yours, right now. Let's begin. Imagine for a moment that you're sitting in a cozy chair, a warm cup of tea in your hands, staring out a window. You're watching the world go by, cars rushing, people hurrying, clocks ticking. It feels like time is this unstoppable force, doesn't it? It's always pushing you forward, making you feel like you're racing to catch up, or worse, like you've missed your chance. Maybe you've thought, if only I had started that business 5 years ago, or, if only I had said yes to that opportunity back then. We've all been there, trapped in the idea that the past is gone, the future is out of reach, and the present is just a fleeting moment we can barely hold on to. But what if I told you that this way of thinking is a trick? A trick of the mind that keeps you stuck, keeps you small, keeps you from seeing the truth. Neville Goddard, one of the greatest spiritual teachers of the 20th century, taught us something profound: time is not real in the way we think it is. It's not a straight line from past to future. It's not a prison you're locked in. Time, my friend, is an illusion, a construct of your own mind. And when you truly understand this, you'll see that you have the power to shape your reality, right here, right now. Let's break this down together. Picture your life as a movie. You're the star, the director, and the writer all at once. The scenes you're living in, the conversations, the experiences, the emotions, they all feel so real, don't they? But what if the movie isn't playing out on a fixed timeline? What if you could rewrite the script, reshoot the scenes, and create a new ending, all from this very moment? Neville Goddard believed that the only time that truly exists is now. The past? It's just a memory, a story you're replaying in your mind. The future? It's just an imagination, a projection of what you think might happen. But the now, this moment, is where all the power lies. Let me share a story to make this clearer. A few years ago, I met a woman named Sarah at a workshop. Sarah was in her late 40s, and she carried this heavy energy, like she was weighed down by regret. She told me how she had always dreamed of becoming a painter, but life got in the way: marriage, kids, a demanding job. She kept saying, "I missed my chance. I'm too old now. That dream is gone." Her voice was heavy with the belief that time had stolen something from her. I asked her one simple question: what if time doesn't matter? What if you could decide, right now, to be a painter? She looked at me like I was crazy, but I explained Neville's teaching. I told her that the past only exists in her mind. The idea that she was too old was just a belief, not a fact. I asked her to imagine herself painting, to feel the brush in her hand, to see her artwork hanging in a gallery, to hear people praising her creativity. I told her to live in that feeling as if it were happening now, not someday. At first, she hesitated, but she started to practice this every night before bed. She'd close her eyes and imagine her dream as if it were real, right in that moment. Months later, Sarah reached out to me. She had started painting again, something she hadn't done since she was a teenager. She was taking classes, sharing her work online, and even sold a few pieces at a local art show. Her face glowed with a joy I hadn't seen before. She said, "I realized I wasn't too late. I just had to decide it was now." That's the magic of understanding that time is an illusion. Sarah didn't go back in time or fast forward to some distant future. She stepped into her power in the present moment and created a new reality. So, how does this work? How can you, sitting there watching this video, use this idea to change your life? Neville Goddard taught that your imagination is the key. Your imagination is God in action, the creative force that shapes your world. When you imagine something vividly, with feeling, you're planting a seed in the eternal now. That seed doesn't care about clocks or calendars. It doesn't care if you're 20 or 80. It only cares about the faith and feeling you give it right now. Let's try something together. Close your eyes for a moment, don't worry, I'll wait. Picture something you deeply desire. Maybe it's a new career, a loving relationship, financial freedom, or even just a sense of peace. See it clearly in your mind. Where are you? What do you see around you? What do you feel? Are you smiling? Is your heart full? Live in that scene as if it's happening right now. Don't think of it as something far off in the future. Feel it as real, as alive, as yours in this very moment. Did you feel that? That spark of joy, that sense of possibility? That's you tapping into the eternal now. That's you stepping out of the illusion of time. Neville taught that when you live in the end, when you feel the reality of your desire as if it's already yours, you set in motion the forces that bring it to life. The universe doesn't check a calendar to decide when your dream can come true. It responds to your faith, your feeling, your belief in the now. But here's where it gets tricky. Our minds are so used to thinking in terms of time. We say things like, I'll be happy when I get that promotion, or I'll feel worthy once I lose 10 pounds. We push our happiness, our success, our fulfillment into some distant future, and in doing so, we rob ourselves of the power of now. Neville would say that this is like praying for something and then doubting it will ever happen. You're canceling out your own prayer. Instead, you have to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You have to live as if your dream is already real, right now, no matter what the calendar says. Let me tell you another story to bring this home. There was a man named John who came to one of Neville's lectures in the 1950s. John was desperate to buy a home for his family, but he couldn't afford it. He was stuck in a cycle of thinking, I'll never have enough money. It's too late. The market's too tough. Neville told him to stop focusing on the problem and start living in the solution. He instructed John to imagine himself walking through his dream home, feeling the keys in his hand, hearing his kids laughing in the backyard. John was skeptical, but he tried it. Every night, he'd lie in bed and imagine his new home as if he were already living there. He didn't worry about how it would happen or when. He just focused on the feeling of it being real. Within a few months, something incredible happened. John's boss offered him a promotion with a significant raise, and a friend connected him with a real estate agent who found him a house within his budget. John later said it felt like the universe had conspired to make his dream come true. But what really happened? John had shifted his state of consciousness. He stopped seeing time as a barrier and started living in the reality he wanted, right now. The outside world simply caught up with his inner vision. Isn't that wild? That's the power of letting go of time and stepping into the now. Michael didn't wait for the perfect moment. He didn't let the illusion of time stop him. He created his reality by living in it first, in his imagination. Now, I want to address something important. Sometimes, when you start practicing this, doubts will creep in. You might think, this isn't working. Nothing's changing. Or maybe you'll feel silly, like you're just daydreaming. That's okay. Those doubts are part of the process. They're just your old beliefs about time trying to pull you back. When that happens, gently bring yourself back to the now. Remind yourself that this moment is all that exists. Keep returning to the feeling of your desire, and trust that it's already yours. Neville often said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That's your mantra. That's your guide. It doesn't matter if the clock says it's too late or the calendar says you're too old. Those are just illusions. The truth is, you are a creator, and your imagination is your greatest tool. Every great invention, every beautiful work of art, every life-changing moment started in someone's imagination. And it started in the now. As we wrap up, I want you to take a moment to reflect. What's one thing you've been putting off because you think it's too late or not the right time? What's one dream you've pushed into the future, thinking you need more time, more money, more something? Right now, in this moment, I invite you to let go of those excuses. Let go of the illusion of time. Step into the reality of your dream. Feel it. Live it. Be it. Because the truth is, there is no time but now. There is no moment but this one. And in this moment, you have all the power you need to create the life you want. Let's talk about regrets for a minute. We all have them, don't we? Those moments where we think, if only I had done things differently back then. Maybe you passed up a job offer, ended a relationship too soon, or didn't pursue a passion when you had the chance. It feels like those choices are etched in stone, permanent marks on the timeline of your life. But Neville Goddard would gently shake his head and say, "No, my dear. The past is not fixed. It's as malleable as clay in your hands." How? Because the past only exists in your imagination. It's a story you're telling yourself in the present moment. And if you change the story now, you change everything. I remember a friend of mine, Lisa, who was haunted by a decision she made in her 20s. She had turned down a scholarship to study abroad because she was afraid of leaving her family, afraid of the unknown. For years, she carried that regret like a backpack full of rocks. "I could have had such a different life," she'd say. "I missed out on so much." Her voice would drop, heavy with what-ifs. Then, she discovered Neville's teachings. I shared with her how time is an illusion, how the now is the only reality. I encouraged her to revise the past, not by denying it, but by imagining a different feeling around it. Neville called this revision. It's a powerful technique where you go back in your mind to a past event and rewrite it with a new ending, a new emotion. So Lisa tried it. Every evening, she'd sit quietly and replay that moment when she turned down the scholarship. But instead of feeling fear and regret, she imagined herself accepting it with excitement, packing her bags, boarding the plane, and thriving in that new country. She felt the adventure, the growth, the joy as if it had really happened. She didn't try to change the facts, she changed the feeling. And something shifted. Within weeks, opportunities started appearing. She got invited to a work conference overseas, then a chance to collaborate on an international project. It was like the universe was giving her a do-over. Lisa told me, "I feel like I've reclaimed that part of my life. The regret is gone, and I'm living the adventure now." That's the beauty of revision. It frees you from the chains of the past. You don't need a time machine, you have your imagination. Try it yourself. Think of a regret, something small to start with. Close your eyes and revisit that moment. But this time, see it unfolding perfectly. Feel the peace, the satisfaction, the love. Live in that revised scene until it feels more real than the original memory. Do this consistently, and watch how your present changes. Because, as Neville taught, your inner world shapes your outer world. The past isn't holding you back, you are, by replaying old stories. Change the story now, and set yourself free. Now, let's shift to the future. Oh, the future, that elusive horizon we're always chasing. We plan for it, worry about it, save for it, but it never quite arrives, does it? That's because the future isn't a destination, it's a projection of your current state of mind. If you're living in lack now, you'll project more lack ahead. If you're living in abundance now, abundance unfolds. Neville said, "The future is now." What you imagine with feeling becomes your reality. So why wait? Why postpone your joy? Let me illustrate with another real-life example. There was a guy named Tom who dreamed of writing a book. He'd been talking about it for years. "One day, when I retire, I'll write that novel." But retirement was decades away, and life kept getting busier. Work, family, bills, they all seemed to push his dream further into the future. Then, during a tough time, he picked up Neville's book, The Power of Awareness. It hit him like a thunderbolt: time is an illusion. Why wait for one day when he could start living as a writer now? Tom began imagining himself as an author. He'd visualize holding his finished book, signing copies at a launch event, reading reviews from fans. He felt the pride, the accomplishment, the flow of words on the page. He didn't quit his job or neglect his responsibilities, he just shifted his inner state. Every morning, he'd write for 30 minutes, living in the feeling that the book was already done. Doubts came, of course. Who am I to think I can do this? But he persisted, focusing on the now. Fast forward a year, and Tom had a manuscript. He self-published it, and it gained traction online. Readers loved it, and he even got a small publishing deal for a second book. Tom laughed when he told me, "I thought I needed time, but all I needed was to decide it was now." See? The future isn't something you wait for, it's something you create in the present. If you're putting off your dreams until someday, stop. Someday is a thief that steals your power. Instead, ask yourself, what would it feel like to have that dream right now? Immerse yourself in that feeling. Let it guide your actions today. Maybe it's starting that side hustle, learning that skill, or reaching out to that person. The key is to act from the state of fulfillment, not desperation. When you do, the path opens up in ways you couldn't have planned. But wait, what about those big, seemingly impossible dreams? The ones that feel light years away? Neville had an answer for that too. He reminded us that nothing is impossible to the imagination. Time can't limit what's infinite. Think of the great inventors, like Thomas Edison or the Wright brothers. They didn't wait for the right time. They imagined flight, light bulbs, breakthroughs, and lived in those visions until the world caught up. You have that same power. No matter how far-fetched it seems, if you can imagine it with conviction, it's already taking form in the now. Here's a story that always gives me chills. A woman named Elena wanted to heal from a chronic illness that doctors said was incurable. She'd been suffering for years, and the prognosis was grim: manage it, but don't expect a cure. Time, in her case, felt like an enemy, ticking down her health. But Elena found Neville's lectures online. She learned that time is an illusion, that her body responds to her beliefs. So she started imagining herself healthy, running in the park, dancing with friends, feeling vibrant energy coursing through her. She did this daily, ignoring the symptoms, focusing on the feeling of wholeness now. Skeptics might call it denial, but Neville called it faith. Months passed, and slowly, her symptoms eased. Tests showed improvement, then remission. Elena's doctors were baffled. She simply said, "I stopped waiting for healing and became healed in my mind first." It wasn't magic, it was the power of living in the end, beyond the illusion of time. Your body, your circumstances, they all mirror your inner state. Change the inner now, and the outer follows. Let's make this practical with another exercise. Right now, wherever you are, take a deep breath. Inhale peace, exhale doubt. Now, think of a future goal that feels distant. Shrink that distance in your mind. Imagine it's already happened. What do you see? Hear? Feel? Spend a full minute there, basking in it. Notice how your body relaxes, how ideas start flowing. That's you aligning with your desire. Practice this twice a day, morning and night, and watch synchronicities appear. People, opportunities, resources, they'll show up because you've already claimed them in the eternal now. Of course, life throws curveballs. Maybe you're facing a deadline, a loss, or uncertainty. How does this apply? Neville taught persistence. When the world says, "not yet," your imagination says, "already is." Don't argue with appearances, revise them. If a deal falls through, imagine it succeeding. If a relationship struggles, picture harmony. Time can't dictate outcomes, your faith does. One more tale before we ease toward the close. A businessman named Raj was on the brink of bankruptcy. Debts piled up, clients left, and time seemed to be running out. I need more time to turn this around, he thought. But after studying Neville, he realized time wasn't the issue, his mindset was. He began imagining his business thriving, phones ringing with orders, bank accounts full, teams celebrating successes. He felt the relief, the gratitude, now. Actions followed, new strategies, bold calls. Within months, a major contract saved his company, and growth exploded. Raj said, I stopped fighting time and started creating from timelessness. As we continue this exploration, remember, you're not bound by hours, days, years. You're a timeless being, creating in the infinite now. Embrace that, and life becomes a playground, not a race. If this is sparking something in you, hit that like button, share with a friend, and subscribe for more. We're just getting started on unlocking your potential. Until next time, live in the now, because that's where your power lives.